Hey, let's get to this story, and this is the one that Chewy's already texted me about going, oh, I wish I was there to talk about this because this story was obviously made mid-afternoon, 5 p.m. Casey Costello released the quote-unquote independent research that she's been talking about, and whilst it's not part of the story, they'd speak to the journalist afterwards, and he throws down a bit of that information. So Luxon today is also saying, yep, you know, yesterday we showed you that video and it was like, well, actually, guys, Luxon did all this big talk about these tobacco products that have now been banned. And he's coming out today going, yep, no, I knew they were banned. Yep, no, I knew they were banned. Maybe not. Let's have a look at the latest update as the Casey Costello story continues.
Moves to help people quit smoking seem to be causing some confusion among our senior politicians. Associate Health Minister Casey Costello was blindsided this week when heated tobacco devices were banned. Christopher Luxon saying today he knew all along. There are also mixed messages about who stands to gain from the product's recent tax cut. Senior political reporter Benedict Collins has development.
Just think before the answer comes out, Whānau, if a company gets a tax break, does that benefit that company? Because that's one of the questions they put to Christopher Luxon. Company X gets a tax break. Does that help Company X? You just ponder that for a while, and you wait and see what Christopher Luxon's got to say about that.
The Prime Minister feeling light on his feet today as confusion swirls around these tobacco gadgets. He insists he was aware the Philip Morris devices were being pulled from the shelves this week.
I'm well aware that we were child-proofing alternatives to smoking.
Were you aware that was coming in on the very day you were talking about the benefits of these?
Yeah, because we extended it 6 months, yes.
His minister in charge of tobacco reform.
I'm just, I like playing poker and watching people's reactions. That was like a very quick answer, and he gave out quite specific information. Like I would surmise he's just been told it. Now, I could be wrong, but I think I'm all in once I see that bluff.
Though was oblivious.
Yeah, so I wasn't aware that they had the products that were on the market were not going to be compliant with the 1st of October changes.
The government has just given heated tobacco products sold by multinational Philip Morris a big tax break.
We want to lower smoking rates. We want to deliver on smoke-free 2025. We will do that. And the way that we do that is we make alternatives available.
Do you accept that tax cut on heated tobacco products benefited Philip Morris?
No, I disagree.
We asked Casey Costello a similar...
Tax break for Company X does not help Company X. That's what the Prime Minister thinks.
He's struggling. He's struggling because we're getting rid of smoke. So,
I'm just trying to figure that out, how tax break for Company X. If it doesn't help Company X, who does it help? The tax break for Company X. But, he's the Prime Minister. He probably knows more.
Question yesterday.
The policy around an excise tax reduction may have benefited them.
Oh.
The heated tobacco.
Oh. So may have benefited them. I think
you sure?
Well... So tax break for Company X may have benefited for them from the Minister. Tax break for Company X did not benefit them from the Prime Minister. Maybe they need to get together. But mind you, remember, she's never got together with him. Never, ever. Because he still hasn't seen the independent research. Maybe that's what it is. They just need to connect their calendars.
Products was the only tax benefit.
Officials told Casey Costello there's no independent evidence that heated tobacco products are any safer than cigarettes. And they warn that there's a risk that by cutting taxes, more people could take up heated tobacco and stop vaping, which is safer.
It doesn't seem like there's a lot of evidence to suggest that heated tobacco products are that safe.
Well, the thing is, it's less harmful.
One News understands the minister's moves are based partly on this study, which suggests heated tobacco products may have helped accelerate the declining rates of ciggy sales.
And this research has been done by an independent body that's got no connections to the tobacco agency. He says, hoping very much. We'll find out, shall we?
In Japan. The report is based on limited data from tobacco company Philip Morris and the Japanese tobacco industry.
They got me.
Right.
They got me. They got me. I thought it would be independent, but it was from the tobacco company themselves. Wilson.
We should be sceptical of claims made by tobacco companies, given their history.
So that just get that, folks? That's in the same piece of research that was done by these guys in their own research. In the companies who sell tobacco, in their own research, it says, given the history of the cigarette industry, public health groups have a right to be skeptical about any industry product claims. That's in their own research. It says, look out for these guys.
Given their history.
Are you concerned that Minister is basing her decisions based on advice from Philip Morris?
No.
The Prime Minister and Casey Costello appear to be at 6s and 7s.
And within the last hour, Casey.
Yeah, so this is the bit that they haven't got a bit for, but the journalist will explain what's been going on. So now we're going to hear about this independent research, the independent research that Casey Costello's been talking about all week. I wonder how independent that is.
Costello's office released the advice she's used, and you've been taking a look, Benedict.
That's right. Clearly not satisfied with her officials telling her that it was a bad idea to give these heated tobacco products a tax cut, Casey Costello has gone out and done her own research to try and justify the move. Now, just before 5 p.m, we got a big document dump from the Minister's office, and I've been poring over it. Now, my key initial takeaway would be that the experts believe that a lot more research, a lot more scientific vigour is required to look into these heated tobacco products, because they say just not enough is known about their safety. Now, to be fair, in one of the studies, it does say that heated tobacco products are safer than tobacco cigarettes. However, when we looked into who was behind that study, it turned out they were all employees of Philip Morris from the tobacco company. And another study actually warned these heated tobacco products can actually be a gateway drug through to smoking cigarettes. So people who were never cigarette smokers might take up the habit because they'd been using these heated tobacco products. Now, given the science around this is so unclear, there's so much in dispute here, it is remarkable to see the government really pushing ahead with support for heated tobacco products.
It is really getting to kind of cartoon villain levels of lunacy, isn't it? There you go, Emily. So it's now revealed the independent research is done by people who are all employed by the tobacco industry. And in one of the other studies says that using these heated tobacco products might cause more people to smoke. Independent research.
Yeah, might. They don't have enough research to say.
Yeah,
which, I mean, they don't have enough research to say that vaping is not good for you, but we don't know, so it's better than smoking. We know that smoking kills, so vaping's the next best option. I'm sure there'll be research that comes out that says that's terrible for you as well.
Yeah.
But still a better option at this point. It seems a bit strange that it's almost like they National have a strange thing where if they don't have enough evidence, they'll scrap something. But in this case, it seems like they have evidence, but they're kind of doing it anyway. or they'll not wait for the evidence to come through and go, maybe we should keep that or lose it. That doesn't make any sense. Their position on evidence and advice seems a bit to and fro. Or they pick and choose.
We're going to see again, this government, on their tombstone would be, we ignored official advice. But we've seen that, we've jumped back and seen a few stories from the key government, and it's very similar. So it must be a National Party, character or characteristic that they like to ignore advice. Now, the only time we find out about them taking advice is when they want to use it as an excuse for space. So I'm pretty sure in the conversation we're going to look at tonight with Nicola Willis, talking about the family boost, she's talking about like if they want to give themselves an excuse for a bad decision. I'm pretty sure she said in that about, we really wanted to make these payments automatic, but official advice said we couldn't. So when they want an excuse around something, they'll sort of acknowledge it. But when it's something that doesn't fit in with the narrative of the legislation they want to drive through, they'll ignore it. And that seems to be the MO. Now, I'll be fair. I don't know if Labor does that the same way, but I don't remember it being the same as what it is now. It's like every single legislation has a regulatory impact statement or expert advice or industry experts saying, warning, warning, warning. And I don't remember the regularity of it with the last guys. Maybe they did it a bit, but nothing like to the level that these guys are doing it. It's just,
I think the issue is that it's very knee jerky. It's very like, oh, we're just doing this. And people are like, what are you doing? There is advice to say you shouldn't. And I think Labor have a tendency, well, I mean, this is the whole thing about the red tape, right? Bureaucracy, red tape, there's too much of it. Let's get rid of it. Let's start making decisions. Go, 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 go. But I think it's backfiring because people are speaking up and saying, why didn't you listen to advice? You should have taken your time on this. It's like the second they were in government, they started making these decisions, and they haven't actually thought it through very well. Whereas, bureaucracy actually might be kind of good. Layers of red tape might be kind of good so that we get a good outcome. So it takes longer to do stuff right, or at least well thought out, well considered, like the boat, took 8 years for them to get the hospital, for example. They took so long to actually get the construction. Like, I remember being like, there's tons of things happening. I'm not seeing a hospital. And then suddenly I went back to Dunedin and there's a hospital there. So it takes so long for that stuff. And then they suddenly build it, which may be like the last, 10% maybe of the whole project, the last 2 years of the project. But that takes time. National don't seem to have that same thing. They're just like, we decided to do it. There was some evidence. There was some advice. We ignored it. We took the stuff we liked and we just did it.
It's really smart, actually. I haven't thought about it like that before, but the anti-bureaucracy bullshit coming out of these guys on some level is advice causes sometimes the process to take longer.
Yeah.
And that process take longer, we're going to label bureaucracy and we're going to get rid of it because bureaucracy is just the quicksand to an economy is what they're saying. So that, it's really insightful. I like that. I'm going to remember that. I'm going to steal it and claim it as my own at some stage.
Go for it. You can have it. I'll give it to you.